Did you know a group of criminals once rented a fake landscaping company just to rob the bank next door? In 2005, a crew in Fortaleza, Brazil, set up a phony grass and garden business right beside the Banco Central. They hired workers, bought equipment, and looked completely legitimate for months. But underground, they were doing something else entirely. They dug a tunnel 78 meters long, boring straight through dirt and rock into the heart of the bank's vault. The engineering was precise. The patience was almost unreal. On the weekend of August 6th, they broke through and walked out with $160 million in unmarked bills. It was the largest cash robbery in history. No alarms, no guards, no drama. The perfect crime lasted about 6 months. Then the crew started spending. New cars, mansions, throwing money around like it had no source. Police followed the cash straight back to them. Most of the money was never recovered. The heist that almost worked forever was undone by the oldest mistake in crime. Did you know the most successful diamond heist in history was cracked open by a half-eaten sandwich? Leonardo Notarbartolo was patient, dangerously patient. Starting in 2000, he rented a small office inside the Antwerp Diamond Center and played the role of a legitimate diamond dealer for years. He attended events. He greeted neighbors. He built trust, one handshake at a time. Then on the weekend of February 15th, 2003, his crew moved. They drilled through a vault door protected by 10 layers of security, defeated heat sensors, light detectors, and a $100 million lock system, and cracked open 123 private vault boxes. Diamonds, gold, cash, gone. The job was nearly flawless. But in a forest outside the city, investigators found a garbage bag. Inside were vault receipts, security footage, and a half-eaten salami sandwich with Notarbartolo's DNA on it. He was arrested, tried, and sentenced to 10 years. $100 million in diamonds. 3 years of planning. Undone by lunch. The perfect heist never existed. Did you know the biggest jewel heist in British history was pulled off by a group of pensioners? Easter weekend, 2015. While London emptied out for the holiday, a crew of aging thieves quietly broke into the Hatton Garden safe deposit vault in the heart of the city's diamond district. Their ringleader, Brian Reeder, was 76 years old. They rented the elevator shaft of the building next door, disabled the lift, and rappelled down into the basement. Then they spent 3 nights drilling through almost half a meter of reinforced concrete using an industrial Hilti drill. Inside, they cracked open 73 safety deposit boxes and walked out with over 14 million pounds in jewels, gold, and cash. The police investigation that followed used no cutting-edge technology. Just CCTV footage, pub conversations, and informants who had known these men since the 1960s. Old habits got them caught. They kept meeting at the same pub. They talked too much. One even used his own car. By May, the crew was in handcuffs. These men had spent their whole lives learning how to steal. They never learned how to stop talking. Did you know a con man sold the Eiffel Tower twice in the same month? In 1925, Victor Lustig printed fake government letterhead, rented a suite at the Hotel de Crillon, and invited 6 scrap metal dealers to a private meeting. He told them the French government had a problem. The Eiffel Tower was too expensive to maintain. It was going to be torn down and sold for parts, quietly, officially, and they had first right to bid. One dealer named André Poisson handed over a massive bribe to secure the deal. Then Lustig vanished to Austria with the cash. But here was his genius. He knew Poisson was too ashamed of his own greed to call the police. So Lustig came back. New letterhead, new dealers, same tower, same result. He walked away twice. He eventually moved to America and ran one of the largest counterfeiting operations the Secret Service had ever seen. Millions in fake bills flooding the economy. They finally caught him in 1935. He escaped once, was recaptured, and died in federal prison. The man who sold the Eiffel Tower could not sell his way out of a cell.
Did you know the men who pulled off the biggest cash heist in American history were all dead within a year? December 1978, JFK Airport. $6 million vanished from a Lufthansa cargo vault in under an hour. No shots fired, no alarms triggered. It was almost perfect. Jimmy Burke had planned every detail. But once the money was in his hands, he made a new plan nobody else knew about. One by one, the crew disappeared. Strangford Edwards, Parnell Stevens, Richard Eaton. Burke killed them all rather than share the score. The robbers became the targets. The heist was never the dangerous part. Surviving Burke afterward was. Law enforcement knew what happened, proving it was another story. The case went cold for decades. Then in 2014, Vincent Asaro, one of the last men standing, finally faced a federal courtroom. A relative had worn a wire. 36 years of silence, broken by someone Burke trusted. Asaro walked free on acquittal, but the story was finally told out loud. Some crimes never truly close. Did you know that 6 hostages held at gunpoint for 6 days ended up defending the man who kidnapped them? In August 1973, a career criminal named Jan-Erik Olsson walked into Kreditbanken in Stockholm and took 4 bank employees hostage inside the vault. Police surrounded the building. Negotiators worked the phones. The world watched. But something strange happened inside that vault. The hostages started trusting Olsson. They shared food. They talked. One woman said she felt safer next to him than near the police outside. When it ended after 6 days, the hostages refused to testify against him. One of them later visited him in prison. Another got engaged to his accomplice. Psychologists were stunned. They named what happened after the city itself. Stockholm Syndrome. The idea that extreme fear can flip into attachment when a captor shows even the smallest mercy. Olsson got 10 years. The hostages moved on. But the case never left psychology. A failed robbery with no plan became the most studied hostage case in history. Did you know one trader secretly controlled positions worth more than his entire bank? And when they found out, it may have helped crash the global economy? Jérôme Kerviel was nobody special at Société Générale, a mid-level trader, a former compliance desk worker who knew exactly how the bank's risk systems operated, and he used every bit of that knowledge against them. Between 2006 and 2008, he quietly built unauthorized trading positions worth over 50 billion euros. The bank's own systems never flagged it. He knew which alerts to trigger and which ones to avoid. Then January 2008 arrived. Investigators found the hole. Senior executives made a decision that would shake the world. They spent 3 frantic days secretly unwinding his trades, dumping massive positions into already fragile markets. The loss hit 4.9 billion euros. Some economists believe that desperate sell-off helped accelerate the global financial collapse that followed. Kerviel was convicted, then acquitted, then convicted again. He spent years arguing the bank knew more than they admitted. One man's hidden gamble, a planet that paid for it. Did you know a man built a $6 billion company using nothing but a wedding ring? In 1993, a small Canadian mining company called Bre-X announced a gold discovery in the jungles of Borneo. Not just any discovery, 200 million ounces, the largest gold deposit ever found. Investors went into a frenzy. The stock exploded. Pension funds poured in. The company was worth billions overnight. But geologist Michael de Guzman had a secret. He was shaving flakes of gold from a wedding ring and pressing them into rock core samples before testing. Every glittering result was a lie. When a major mining company demanded independent verification, the walls closed in fast. On March 19, 1997, de Guzman boarded a helicopter over the Borneo jungle. He never landed with it. His body was found days later, badly decomposed. Officially a fall, but the timing was impossible to ignore. Within weeks, the independent test confirmed what he already knew. There was no gold. The deposit was empty. $6 billion vanished in days. The whole empire built on a wedding ring. Did you know that a significant portion of gold jewelry sold across Britain in the 1980s was likely stolen? On the 26th of November, 1983, a 6-man crew walked into a Brinksmat warehouse near Heathrow Airport. They had an inside man. A security guard named Anthony Black let them straight through the door. What they found inside stopped them cold. Not cash. 3 tons of gold bullion, worth 26 million pounds. They were in and out in under 20 minutes. But the gold was too heavy to sell and too traceable to move. So the crew made a decision that changed everything. They melted it down and fed it quietly into legitimate jewelers across the country. Forensic economists later estimated that British gold jewelry throughout the entire decade carried traces of that stolen bullion. Then the money came, and the crew turned on each other. Over the next 10 years, murders piled up as the gang fractured over the proceeds. The heist took 20 minutes. The bloodshed took a decade. Did you know a 16-year-old once convinced Wall Street he was worth $200 million using nothing but fake carpet cleaning contracts? Barry Minkow started ZZZZ Best out of his parents' garage in 1982. Just a kid with a mop and a dream. But the real money wasn't in cleaning carpets. It was in lying about it. Barry invented massive restoration contracts worth millions of dollars. Then he built fake job sites, hired actors, and walked auditors right through them. The auditors saw what he wanted them to see. By 20, he was on magazine covers. A teenage genius. A future billionaire. Then the FBI started pulling threads. The whole thing collapsed in 1987. Fake contracts, real prison. But here's where the story gets strange. Barry found religion behind bars. He came out a pastor and a fraud investigator, hunting down the same schemes he once ran. America loved the comeback. Then investigators discovered he was using his fraud-fighting platform to run more fraud. The con was always still running. Did you know the most perfectly planned heist in British history was never going to work? Not for a single second. It was November 2000. A gang arrived at the Millennium Dome by speedboat, armed with sledgehammers and nail guns, ready to steal a diamond collection worth over $350 million. Months of planning, a flawless getaway route, total confidence. But police had received a tip the previous year. Every officer inside that building was undercover. The gang thought they were the hunters. They had already been the prey for months. Would you have walked in? Did you know a man with zero medical training performed emergency chest surgeries on wounded soldiers, and every single one of them survived? His name was Ferdinand de Mara. No degree, no license, just a textbook he memorized overnight on a Navy ship during the Korean War. He also fooled prisons, universities, and monasteries for decades. But here's the part that should keep you up at night. His patients did not just survive, they thrived. So what exactly were those credentials proving? Because whatever it was, de Mara already had it.